Session of our capacity building and workshop and quality standardization of extract and quality control assessment in traditional medicine products. Okay, now we are honored to have with us distinguished expert speakers. The first speakers from Dexa Medica, Professor Raymond R. Chandra Winata, PhD. Speaker is Associate Professor in the Institute of Ayurveda, Dr. Khalib. Benchmarking in innovative product regulation, covering nanotechnology, fermentation, and fractionation. Acting as the moderators for this session is Head of Research Center for Pharmaceutical Ingredients and Traditional Medicines, BRIN, Dr. Sofa Fajriya, MSA. And to our moderator and distinguished speakers, the floor is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Biar semangat, saya mulai dengan pantun ya. Pergi ke hutan mencari akar, singgah sejenak di tepi danau. Hari kedua terasa segar, bangun kapasitas ilmu bertambah maju. Satu lagi ya ibu-ibu, bapak-bapak, burung nuri hinggap di ranting, menyapa siang dengan riang. Standarisasi mutu kita kembangkan, agar obat herbal semakin gemilang. Oke. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And for our speakers, Professor Raymond and Ibu Putri, selaku Direktur Standarisasi OTSK. Welcome to our second session on capacity building and workshop on quality standardization of extracts and quality control assessment in traditional and herbal medicine. This sharing session focus on benchmarking regulation of innovation products with a special focus on nanotechnology, fermentation, and fractionation in traditional and modern medicine. So this session aims to provide insight from global experts and experiences from WHO member states or national regulatory authorities and how innovative technologies are being developed, standardized, and regulated for public health benefit. So today we are honored to have two distinguished speakers who will share their expertise with us. So our first speaker is Professor Raymond R. Chandrawinata from PT Dexa Medica Indonesia. And ladies and gentlemen, before we begin, allow me to highlight the educational background and achievement for our distinguished speaker. Professor Raymond completed his postdoctoral fellowship in molecular pharmacology at the University of California, San Francisco, and he also earned his Doctor of Philosophy in Biochemistry from the University of California, Riverside. Over the years, he has received numerous prestigious awards, including in 2025, he was honored as one of the top 10 influential leaders in healthcare by the Business of Apex Journal Singapore, and in 2023, he has ranked #1 in Indonesia in the category of World Top 100 Medical and Health Sciences Scientists by the ED Scientific Index, and in 2019, he received the Albert Nelson Marquis Lifetime Achievement Award, and in 2018, he was awarded the WIPO Medal for Inventor in Geneva, Switzerland, and the same year, he received the Intellectual Property Award for the Directorate General of Intellectual Property of Indonesia. In 2016, he also was recipient the prestigious Habibie Award in Medicine, presented by the Habibie Center and the Foundation for the Advancement of Science and Technology in Jakarta. So this accomplishment reflects his outstanding contribution to science, innovation, and healthcare, both nationally and internationally. Beyond his scientific achievement, Professor Rahman has also been recognized as the prominent figure in shaping national health innovation policy and has served as a mentor for many young researchers in the pharmaceuticals and biotechnology sector. So we are truly privileged to have Professor Rahman with us today to share his expertise on the use of nanotechnology in phytotherapy and standardization, or penggunaan teknologi nano sebagai fitoterapi dan standarisasi. Profesor Rahman, please, the floor is yours. Waktunya, mohon maaf, 30 menit, Prof. Terima kasih.
Thank you very much, Dr. Zulfa, for your kind introduction. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to acknowledge Ibu Putri as the invitee who invited me to speak before you. And I will share our experience in making herbal products, phytopharmaceutical products, phytopharmaca, and what we have done at DEXA, so that hopefully this will be very practical for you to learn what we've been doing this far. Yeah. Okay, so also I would like to acknowledge Professor Goib, your attendance in this meeting, even though you're from, you are in, sorry, balik kemana ya? You are in India at this moment, but I think, balik. Slide yang pertama ya, boleh ya langsung aja tanpa itu ya. It's very confusing. Slide pertama, please. Okay, so yeah. So slide kedua, yeah. Okay, so we are from DEXA Group, which we have 7 manufacturing facilities all over Indonesia, from South Sumatra up to Karawang in Bogor and everything. Yeah. So, and one of the facility in which we make now what we call API, active pharmaceutical ingredient for OMI, which is Obat Modern Asli Indonesia. That is the ingredient which we isolate and we characterize ourselves from the biodiversity of Indonesia in the form of herbal and also proteins coming from the plants as well as animals. I will show you one of the several of the product in which we have done in terms of the production of the, not only the API, but also finished product in our facility. Yeah. Please. Slide. Okay. So over the year in which we have done our research since 2005, this building was inaugurated in 2007, but we have several other buildings as well in the vicinity. And these are the kind of products in which we make. These will be characterized as phytopharmaca or OHT, Obat Herbal Standard. And our thinking is that how can we make from the biodiversity of Indonesia using the the molecular pharmacology approach. And because we're doing that since using the standardized, not only herbal and extract, what we call OMI, we have to do a lot of research on the standardization in order to ascertain that the quality will be controlled all the way from the raw materials into the finished product, which is looking like this, yeah? So in addition to this, obviously we also have some typical liquid, which is syrup, and so on, yeah? So I will talk about several of this, not all, but just to show you that some of this product now has been characterized by EBE, empowered by evidence, meaning this is an international body which recognizes and characterizes and gives the accreditation to Indonesian, to herbal products all over the world, in which the rigorous activity, this will be recognized and not only coming from Badan POM as the NEA, which is marketing authorization, but the scientific rigor was actually looked into by the EBE people, empowered by evidence, showing that this thing is actually, even though it's coming from biodiversity, but it's equally as good as drugs coming from chemicals. So the EBE is the the only one international accreditation committee which allow us to apply, make sure that the product coming from the herbal, from the plants, is as good as chemical products. So they have done some accreditation to some of our products. Yeah. Slide. Okay, how do we organize within ourselves? So this is like a typical research facility. So we have several groups. And our ways to do that is, one is in discovery, essentially it's discovering new chemical entity, new extract entity, new, for example, probiotic isolate entities. Those are discovery group, yeah? So this would be a lot of chemists, a lot of biochemists, a lot of phytochemists, many things, yeah? And then we study the biology. So we use the pharmacology in order to study the biology using molecular approach, using many biomarker. For example, target gene, target protein, using some certain expression system. And then from that, we take it into development. Now, this is where the quality takes place. So during development, obviously, not only we formulate and use the analytical, but also when we bring it to the pilot plant and also bigger plant, we have to have a process improvement, process development. This is where it takes place. So development is not only in the lab, but also taking place in the pilot plant as well as the bigger scale in a 2,000 liters, for example, or if you use the supercritical, we use 100 liter supercritical fluid extraction system. This is where it's taking place. This is the quality, has to be very important, and so the quality of the raw material will be decided in here, but when we do the finished product, the quality will be done in here. We make sure that the quality meet up the standard, and some of the quality materials will have to come from GAP type of supplier, coming from the grower, yeah, coming from the petaninya. Yeah, okay, next. So essentially, if you look into this, we have done quite a bit in terms of investment, not only looking into the discovery like phytochemistry lab, we have also invested in the molecular characterization in protein, also many things, metabolic assay, biotech lab, we have also compound isolation labs, and then we have biomolecular labs and also animal labs in which allow us to do some clinical study. Yeah. Now, our lab is now characterized and accredited by the AACSB, which is the only accreditation in the world for lab animal accreditation. Yeah. So there are only 3 AACSB accreditation, and one of them is the one that we have in the LBS. Yeah. Okay, next. So essentially, when we look into these different things, so we have the herbal scale and also biotech scale. The biotech is actually coming from protein, mostly coming from the animal. For example, we have isolated some proteins from the earthworm, or we call as Lumbricus rubellus, or coming from fish, for example. We have Channa striata, in which we have already collected many proteins, accepted and actually characterized even for coming from Channa striata is anti-wound healing, for example, or anti-pain, yeah, and so on. So those actually is characterized and scaled up in a biotech way because we're using biotechnology processes in terms of making up the proteins which is suitable to be a pharmaceutical material, yeah, API. Yeah. Next. This is an example of our production facility using extraction, filtration, evaporation, liquid extraction, also evaporation, and this one is actually coming mostly for plants, yeah, and not used for the animal proteins, but this is only for more plants. And we've been receiving many recognition in terms of the manufacturing accreditation like CPOTB, yeah, CPOB, ISO, also halal assurance system. So this is the one that actually producing our material, the herbal materials. Yeah. Next. Now some of our products, as we spoke, has already been included into the Formularium Phytopharmaca. So even though it's included in Formularium Phytopharmaca, however, I must tell you that the usage of our OMI product is not widely used yet in Indonesia. we have volume of usage outside Indonesia, but not Indonesia. The reason being, even though it's included in formularium phytopharmaca, the government is still not willing to use phytopharmaca. The reason being, it's not being reimbursed in BPJS. So any one of us, if we go to the doctors, we ask for BPJS coverage of herbal products, phytopharmaca products produced in Indonesia, done by the isolation by Indonesian scientists, looking and also studied in Indonesian hospital. There's none in the BPJS, none in the Formularium Nasional. Why? The quality of formularium, even though it's already included by the Kemenkes, is still formularium phytopharmaca, and hopefully a new legislation we're waiting that doctors can use and they can prescribe phytopharmaca in their formularium in their where they practice. Yeah, so this is still being developed in Kemenkes. Yeah, so but the three of the phytopharmaceutical or phytopharmaca is already included in the formularium are, one is enlacin for diabetes and PCOS, yeah, polycystic ovarian syndrome, widely used by the OBGYN now, PCOS products. Radacid, this is for the GERD, yeah, for hyperacidity. This is coming also from the cinnamon burmani, but different fraction, yeah, so that's why this is a fraction, yeah. Because this fraction is DLBS 2411, compared to the enlacin, which is compared 3233. The fraction is different. And the third one that's included is Philanthus nirari, or what we call meniran. Yeah, this is the only one immunomodulator coming from Indonesia. The other immunomodulator we talk about, they are all imported. But what is the only immunomodulator coming from Indonesia is Timuno, is Philanthus niruri, or meniran. Yeah. Slide. Okay. So how do we determine, for example, if we have fish like this, China's raita, but this fish is not only China's raita. You can have any product, any fish, any animals, and if you go through the way we do things, followed by what we call TSEP system, then you will have a good product. You will have a good quality API candidate. And what's the reason? It's because we targeted certain genes and proteins, and we always make the derivatization of our products, even if it's coming from fish, then and you end up with the last product, which is called the LBS product. So the one that you saw earlier, the LBS 3233 enlacin, coming from cinnamon burmani and Lagostremia speciosa, we also maintain how we found that the LBS 3233 using the system. Using how we can generate a different amount of materials, and we screen them using the bioassay system. Without using the bioassay system, we cannot know whether such a product will have a profound effect on the clinical basis. So this is why all clinical trials, our clinical trials, many of them, gives a good result. It's because we have done the screening coming using the biomedical assay, using the pharmacological assay. If we just use any product and we extract it, it's not guaranteed you can have a good clinical effect. It's not guaranteed you will have a good safety effect. But if you screen begin with, using the different methods, using the molecular method, then you can guarantee your product will have a profound, good clinical and safety effects. And we have already shown several. The proof is there in many of our data and publications. Yeah. So, for example, how can we make such a biotechnology product? Many people are making from China's raita, or known as ikan gabus, yeah? But the way we do it is different, because we use the extraction, we make bioactive fraction, we use chromatography, we use microfiltration, we use granulation, and then we make powder, and then we start with tableting. We finish tableting. So the one that being prescribed by the doctors here, by the surgeons, this is 250 milligrams striatin. Why do we call it striatin, not extract of China's raita? It's because the way we do things here is using biotechnology. We don't just take the flesh of the face and then we dry it out under the sun or using oven. No, it's not enough. We should find only certain protein, certain bioactive fraction of the proteins, which will give a good physiological effect, which will give a good effect on when somebody have the problem clinically. That's why you have to do this. That's why we have done that. And that particularly the filtering through the bioassay system give us sufficient self-evidence that clinically this will work. I will show you the evidence, what we have done, what we have collected, even with Channas Raheta. If you process the way we do it. Okay, slide. This is an example. This Channas Raheta, everybody thinks, oh, ikan gabus mengandung albumin. No. Ikan gabus, it's good for increasing the liver function because the albumin will affect. No. You have to think this. People will have to have logic that the albumin coming from fish is not the same our albumin because we're not fish. And they're not human. So when you give the extract of albumin, of Channas Raheta, then you cannot give the albumin to fish for somebody who is dying, somebody in the ICU, expecting their albumin level is high. But why is the albumin level in the patients going up when you give some extract from the fish? That is because we found out you have to do this. In many of our evidence, in many of our system of doing the personalization and also finding which one works, some of the protein coming from the fish actually increases the synthesis of albumin. So it doesn't work albumin per se, but it works as the growth factor of the production of albumin. That is a logic. That's why when the prescription comes from physician, oh, I want to write albumin, because albumin has shown it has the growth factor for increasing the albumin synthesis within the liver of the patient. And it's not coming from the fish itself. The albumin is albumin fish. It's not compatible to the albumin, even the blood of people. Yeah, so albumin cannot be transported via our absorption system. So sometimes when we create a product, the logic has to be there. And where is it coming from? And you have to be able to synthesize and you have to be able to defend yourself with scientific evidence that that's not happening. Doesn't make sense if you give albumin and albumin people going up. So that's why you need to characterize. So the one that we characterize here in our albumin is only for wound healing. So in this particular product in which we have albumin containing steroid, yes, it contains a lot of amino acid. But the only product and the only expectation for clinical effect is only for wound healing and not for increasing albumin. So how do we know that? Okay, next. Oh, of course, we have to do clinical trial, yeah? We have done clinical trial all over Indonesia, also different part of the Indonesia. We have a lot of relationship with many hospitals, yeah? Please. Site investigator, okay, please. Okay, next. Now, this is what I'm saying, yeah? Remember I said, our product is recognized not only in Indonesia, but also all over the world. In this particular clinical trial, we have done it in the Philippines with a surgeon of the food diabetes, yeah? We're talking about the wound of the food diabetic people. And look, what do they give? They give albumin. They also give the dissolve, which is coming from the earthworm. So combination, look at the healthy tissue. No other drugs other than diabetes in which they give. They give the diabetes drug, they may give the metformin, they give the insulin, but for wound healing, they just give the albumin and they give the dissolve, which is coming from earthworm, Lumbricus rubellus. This is just to show to you that the bioactive system, the system itself works clinically. If you want to make a good, solid pharmaceutical, phytopharmaca, you have to use the way what we have done, and already been evidence that if you don't do that, you may not have a product coming from Channas Raheta or anyone that contains many wound healing ability of the different part of the proteins. We don't promise albumin, but we promise wound healing, and yet in our one of the patient in the clinical trial to show the foot didn't get amputated. The foot get healed. within day 47. So now we have the evidence now that natural product with the good quality control, and it's designed by good manners by the scientists and also being clinical trial through the good clinical scientists, is as good as a chemical product. It's as good as something that what we import from outside. But the way we think has to be different. The way we think, we have to think the pathophysiology of the disease first, find the target proteins, find the target genes, and then we get a good quality extraction system. That has to take place. If we don't get a good quality expression system, you cannot have a good clinically oriented product. Yeah. So that's number one. Next. Okay, there's another one. Again, kaki diabetes. Diabetes foot. Yeah. So this one is 82 years old, female, chronic non-healing. Management, debridement. Again, they give albumin and they give dissolve. The dissolve will actually increases the production of the blood vessels. It will increase nutrient coming into the area which is necrosis. Huh? But then the wound healing activity is not coming from dissolve, it's coming from albumin. The food is almost becoming normal again within 2 months. When we found this Chana striata, we already know we have a good product. Why? Because we designed it to be a good product. A product in which half design you cannot get clinically. You cannot get significant clinical. That's why when we have the workshop like this, it's very important because the quality control is very important. And we control the supply of the fish, we control the production of the fish, we control production of raw materials, even the API until the finished product. We don't put a lot of control on those. We cannot have clinically meaningful product. And it's very important. If we put standard from the raw material, it has to match up with the finished product. Whatever standard you put in, you have to follow it. And do not change the source, basically. Once you have a good product or a gone clinical trial, don't change the source because it's cheaper. Cannot. You have to consist with the raw material in which you work with to begin with, and you have characterized it yourself. Otherwise, the quality stays on the raw materials and will not be translated into a good clinical practice, a good clinical evidence. Yeah. Okay, next. So there's the same thing here. That is Chana striata. This one is Lagostremia spiosa and Cinnamon burmani in the form of enlacine. Now, if you go for the young woman who cannot get pregnant and they say, oh, the doctor say you got PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. What's number one product that they prescribe now? It's already been on the guideline of PCOS. Give enlacine, 100 milligram per day. And the patient who cannot get conceived to begin with, now they can get conceived. The clinical is there. Because we have done clinical trial, so many clinical trials that we don't show here. Also with diabetes, it shows because of what? Quality control of good quality control materials to begin with, and we use the biomolecular approach to start with. That's the technique. Yeah. Okay, next. After enlacine, we have dissolved. This one is like coming from Lumbricus rubellus. Yeah. Again, we have quite a bit. We put a lot because we have done quite a bit of investment in the research, and we have patented. Yeah, and all over the world, in US, in Europe, and everywhere. So this is the only one at this moment, the only one, oral antithrombosis and thrombolysis product. So we have sent many of these not only in Indonesia, but also all over the world. And it's been accepted by the doctors. Doctors also in ASEAN, also in Philippines, in Singapore, in Cambodia, they're all already prescribing dissolve as antithrombotic and oral thrombolysis. As you know, if you learn pharmacology, thrombolysis is only bolus. Bolus in terms of the protein, for example, TPA, tenecteplase, altiplase, and so on. This one is the oral lumbrokinase, oral thrombolysis product in the world at this moment. Yeah? So we're sending this to all over the world. Yeah. Please. Next, redacid, which is coming from cinnamon burmani. But again, this is not typical extract of cinnamon burmani because we make fraction of the cinnamon burmani. Fraction number 2411 is the one who gives the clinical evidence as the anti-ulceration, GERD, and also for hyperacidity. We have done quite a bit of clinical trial. I don't show you here, yeah. But the patent now has already been in several countries for the coumarin-free, including Europe, Japan, Australia, Taiwan. We target all over the world because this is the one that the proud Indonesian product that will go for the Indonesian, made in Indonesia, but has the capacity of healing people all over the world because everybody is taking omeprazole, everybody taking pantoprazole, and they become OTC product there. Why should not Indonesian product with a good clinical evidence and it's been clinical trial very well, not going to the shelf in Europe, in US? So Indonesia have a winning product with this product. It's called redacid. Yeah. And it's been proven over and over by clinical trial. It's been accredited by, empowered by evidence, which is internationally regulation, which allow accreditation of good herbal material which has good clinical evidence. That's called EBE. Yeah. Next. Now on the quality system, again, we have to use the quality control system for the standardized herbal medicine for all the product, coming from the raw material until the finished product. This is the one that you have to make sure, the simplicia. You cannot change because it's cheaper. You cannot change because there's no supply. If there is no supply, you have to manage your supply. If the price is higher, then you have to pay. Because we're talking with quality in which we endure. The quality which we have to embrace. If you don't embrace the quality coming from the raw material until the finished product, you will not have a good product. Especially if you expect the doctors will prescribe them. Next. So far, how much longer do I have? Because I still have three more hours. Yeah, it's okay, 3 more hours? 3 more hours. Yeah, is it okay? Oh, no? Oh my goodness. I still have 500 slides, bro. No. Okay, so again, coming from Simplicia, you have to make sure, again, everything is standardized. Many growers, they don't care about GAP. Many growers, the petani, they don't like for them to follow certain guidelines. But we have to insist that they follow certain guidelines. During plantation, during growing, during harvesting, during post-harvesting, they have to follow the guideline and the control, the quality control in which we give them. Otherwise, you don't get good raw materials. This is one of the most important things during the growing, post-growing, harvesting, post-harvesting. Very important that we control the standards. Next, storage also very important. Yeah? Post-harvesting, where do they put? If they put in certain like warehouse gudang, and gudang is leaking, so many fungal, so many bacteria, so many virus affecting your raw materials. You have to reject those which do not meet our criteria, strict criteria. You have to reject those. Sometimes we send back like 1 ton, 2 tons raw materials because it does not meet our standard. At the stake is your brand. If one doctor prescribes your brand, it works for your physician, and you change the raw material, and it does not work anymore, then your brands will be at stake, and people will not prescribe your product anymore. So that's why it's better to stick to your control, stick to quality control. Okay, the extract standardization ini, we have the certain pharmacopoeia, Badan POM, Persyaratan Keamanan Mutu, WHO guidelines, other references. We follow them. We have to follow them blindly because otherwise the product will not meet the suitability of clinical practice. Next. QC also important. We have to follow the Badan POM, Perka Badan POM, Persyaratan Keamanan number 23, now 29, 2023, ASEAN Traditional Medicine Health Supplement, other specific country requirement from export destination country, because we export, yeah, not only Indonesia, our product already prescribed by doctors by many countries outside Indonesia. Next. Yeah, so obat dalam, obat luar, anything, any guideline we have to follow, yeah, okay? Next. I think I have only 9.5 minutes left. Award, okay, because of the award. Yeah, next. Yeah, so we've done quite a bit of award, and we'd like to say that our product meets up the obat modern asli Indonesia. This is very important. Why? Because many products are imported, coming from other part of the world, going to Indonesia. But we have to be proud that we have Indonesian herbal ingredients. We have a lot of animals that we can extract the protein coming from. And as our Indonesian, we celebrated the 80 years of kemerdekaan. We should fill it with many other products which meet up the OMAI, Obat Modern Asli Indonesia. What are the characterization of OMAI? Number one, it has to be kemandirian, means the product has to come from Indonesia. It's Indonesian origin. Number two, we have to do uji klinik, which is clinical trial using the GCP, Good Clinical Practice, CUKP, cara uji klinik yang baik. Berkualitas GMP certified, control. And if this will be met, then you are able to generate some money coming from the outside Indonesia. So this thing works in Indonesia, but it does not work outside Indonesia. What works outside Indonesia is the evidence that your product works in their patients. That's the only evidence. When the doctor prescribes, yes, my patient get well very well. They get healed because of this Indonesian OMAI. And the family is very happy, and they come back to me because they keep asking for prescription for inlasin, for anything, for albumin, for anything, dissolve. And when you get that stage, it's very, very happy and proudful for us Indonesian that Indonesia has a product which is not inferior, but it's better. And sometimes it's at least as good as imported product to Indonesia. Yeah? So OMAI, Obat Modern Asli Indonesia. Slide. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you so much for your attention.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Prof. Ya. Prof, boleh mau di sana mau lihat nanti ini diskusinya setelah Pak Dokter Dokter Galip. Oke. Yeah. Thank you very much, Prof. Raymond, for your insightful presentation. We have learned first is R&D process on finding bioactive fraction for modern herbal medicine, yeah, in the LBS. And next is good quality of fraction system is can get the good clinical of products, yeah. And Professor Raymond also study on product on in albumin, in cracin, and dissolve and redacid. Maybe we can take learn from this product from the LBS. We can see how to the R&D process on finding until get the products in burin, in cracin, in dissolve as our learning. And then Professor Raymond also explain about the quality management system, how to simplify characterization, extraction, standardization, and how to quality control of obat bahan alam in Indonesia. And then, and the important is Professor Raymond also called about the OMAI, or Obat Modern Asli Indonesia, is very important for us as to be kemandirian bahan baku obat Indonesia. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please keep your question until let move on the second speakers. Now let's move on to our second speaker, Professor Dr. Galip. Is it in the screen? Sudah ada di...
Yeah.
Okay.
Good afternoon. So hope
Dr.
I am
Galip,
audible.
okay, thank you very much. Yes, before we go to your presentation, it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Galip from the Ministry of Ayush, India. Allow me to briefly introduce the educational background and the achievement of our next discussion speaker, Dr. Galip. Dr. Galip completed his undergraduate studies at BRKR Government Ayurvedic College, Hyderabad, and also he pursued his postgraduate degree in Rasa Sastra and Vaishya Kalpana at the National Institute of Ayurveda, Jaipur. And then he got the PhD from the Institute for Postgraduate Teaching and Research in Ayurveda, IPGT, and RA in Jamnagar. And the person, he served as the associate professor in the Department of Rasa Sastra and Vaishya Kalpana at the All EI India Institute of Ayurveda, New Delhi. So, besides, Dr. Galip has received multiple prestigious awards, including first is gold medal for the best thesis award, and then national level best thesis award in 2017, 2018, and also 2019. And Madhya Pradesh State Level Best Thesis Award in 2016. Also, Dr. Galip has received this prestigious award. And then besides, he also highly regarded CCRS Young Scientist Award in 2017. So these honors reflect his remarkable contribution to research, teaching, and advancement of Ayurveda through modern scientific approach. So he has been deeply involved in integrating modern scientific approach with India's rich heritage of traditional medicine, exploring how innovative technology can strengthen the role of Ayurveda and other traditional systems in contemporary healthcare. So today, Dr. Galip will deliver a presentation on implementation of technology innovation, nanotechnology, fermentation, and fractionation in Indian traditional medicine, offering us valuable insight from India's rich experience. So, Dr. Galip, the screen is yours. Thank you. And your time is 30 minutes for presentation. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And I hope I am audible and the screen is visible, right?
Yes, your screen maybe
Is visible.
Yeah. Okay.
Fine. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Namaskar. Respected chair, researchers, regulators, professional community, the organizers, Dr. Liana Ratnuteria, and other scientific cohorts, and my co-speaker. Thank you so much for the invitation. Thank you so much for this opportunity to be a part of this capacity building and workshop on quality standardization of extracts and quality control assessment in traditional medicine products. So happy to hear the earlier presentation by Dexa Medica. And after having that wonderful presentation, I will try to put forward some information pertaining to regulatory framework and guidelines for evaluating safety and efficacy for traditional medicine products existing in Indian scenario. And yes, I will try myself to limit to the time frame which has been given to me. I will precisely try to mention about the growing demands for the traditional medicine across the globe and the traditional medicine system in Indian scenario, the framework which is existing towards regulation, towards maintaining the standards, and the guidelines framed for evaluating safety efficacy of Ayush products, and a few closing slides towards the Ministry of Ayush approaches towards integrating traditional knowledge with the science. So with this background note, so I would like to say that the WHO Global Report, I would like to refer the WHO Global Report on Traditional and Complementary Medicine 2019, so which has aptly referred that the demands for traditional medicine is increasing across the globe. And from almost 45 member states in 1999 to 109 member states in 2018 with the national or state level laws and regulations for traditional complementary medicine is an indicator towards this growing demand. So the cross section of the globe, cross section of the world map, you can see here, so which is a clear indicator for these increasing demands. And not only that old report of 2019, but the recent draft Global Traditional Medicine Strategy report of 2025 to 2034 has also said in its opening remarks that the traditional medicine is used by people across all the six World Health Organization regions. So it has also referred of having regulation of herbal medicines in more than 116 member states, which is almost equal to about 60% of the member states. And it has also referred that university level of education in 58 member states, which is equaling to almost 30% of the member states. So these statistics also reinforce about the constant growth of such healthcare remedies across the globe. And when we come to the Indian scenario, so the traditional healthcare approaches are very familiar as Ayush systems in India. And this acronym Ayush, it represents to various healthcare systems which are legally approved in Indian scenario. So which stands for Ayurveda, Yoga, Naturopathy, Unani, Siddha, Sovarikpa, and Homeopathy. So these systems are recognized by the Indian government, and the government promoted so these systems for their holistic approaches to health and wellness, covering various domains, including the preventive, promotive, curative, otherwise rehabilitative healthcare needs. So there is an exclusive Ministry of Ayush, so which governs, which takes care of the traditional Indian system in the country scenario. And the ministry is responsible for developing education, developing research, and propagation of traditional medicine in India. So under its supervision, under its able guidance, so there are two commissions to take care of the education related activities: National Commission for Indian System of Medicine, National Commission for Homeopathy. So these two are the commissions. So there are 14 national institutes, and then exclusive research councils are also established. And not only that, but a huge number of Ayush colleges, they are established across the country, which are training the qualified Ayush professional cohorts, so who will further serve the community to the country in different capacities. And when it comes to regulation, so our main topic is regulation. Our main topic is to deliberate about the standards and quality control systems and guidelines for evaluating safety and experiences about integration. So when we speak about the regulation, when we talk about the regulation, so there is again the Ministry of Ayush is the body, is the nodal agency which governs the overall spectrum of the country scenario. So there is Ministry of Ayush, as I said. Besides Ayush, besides the Ministry of Ayush, we have Central Drugs Standard Control Organization, so which is familiarly known as CDSCO, which is India's national regulatory body for pharmaceuticals. So this CDSCO also, so it provides some regulatory provisions when it comes to regulation. Besides that, there are Pharmacopoeia Commission for Indian medicine, and there is a medicinal National Medicinal Plants Board, so which is familiar as NMPB, and and state licensing authorities. Okay, so all these bodies, all these individuals are agencies, so they takes care of the regulation in the country scenario. So in each and every component, so we have Indian scenario has a central, otherwise state level of authorities are there, and the central government authorities usually they makes and they amends regulatory provisions, and they have the powers to give directions to the states in achieving objectives of specific acts related to the regulation, related to the quality control. And these central government authorities, they also establishes pharmacopoeial commissions of Indian medicine and homeopathy, and they will take care of various standards that are being developed at regular intervals. So at the same time, so we have even state government authorities. So the basically the state government authorities, they appoints the state licensing authorities, I mean, the licensing authorities and drug controllers and drug inspectors who are basically responsible to enforce the legal provisions related to the drug regulation. And to govern overall quality and to govern overall regulation of all medicinal products in Indian scenario, including that of the traditional medicines, I mean Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, and homeopathy in origin. So the Drugs and Cosmetics Act 1940 and its accompanying rules 1945, so they are framed and they are imposed in current scenario. So these regulations are mandatory to be followed and exclusively applicable to all medicinal products being manufactured in India. And I'm telling about all medicinal products. It includes the conventional molecules, phytopharmaceuticals, and the ASU products. I mean Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani drugs, and homeopathy drugs, cosmetics, and everything. So the import, the manufacturing, distribution, and sale of drugs and cosmetics in India, so they are governed by this specific act. And the act also it aims to ensure that the products are being manufactured in Indian scenario are safe, they are effective, and they are of having good quality, which is protecting the public health. So there is a main motto why this act is implemented, enforced. So the rules in turn, so they provide detailed classifications, detailed guidelines about what is that good practices, good agricultural practices, good manufacturing practices, good storage practices, and all those things, good dispensing practices and all those things, and other operational aspects related to the drugs and cosmetics to ensure, ultimately to ensure their quality, ultimately to ensure their safety and efficacy. So this act along with its rules are equally applicable to Ayush formulations. Why I'm telling this is okay. So this regulation is exclusively applicable in Indian scenario for all formulations that are being manufactured. And when it comes to Ayush products, so basically, so we have two sets of products, two types of products, which are familiarly known as a classical, otherwise traditional Ayush products, and patent and proprietary Ayush products. These two are the basic products which are defined in this act. And a classical product or traditional product is a kind of product which includes all medicines intended for the therapeutic applications. So it may be, let it be for a treatment or a prevention purposes or whatever it may be, but products which are manufactured exclusively in accordance with the formulae which have been described in the authoritative textbooks of Ayush systems of medicines specified in the uh, first schedule of the act. So there are two schedules in that act. In the first schedule of the act, there are a few numbers of books. Okay, so they have been mentioned, which are known as classical books. So these classical books should have these formulations, description of these formulations, and in accordance with that specific description, if the formulations are manufactured, they are known as classical and are traditional formulations. And besides that, okay, so we have that second category, patent and proprietary product. So the formulations containing only such ingredients which are mentioned in the formula described in the authoritative books which are mentioned in the first schedule and do not include a medicine for parenteral administration. So this is defined as a PNP product. Besides that, the phytopharmaceuticals is okay. So one emerging class of drugs, definitely I can say, so which are derived from the plant extracts and characterized by having a defined bioactive or a phytochemical compound, so which are qualitatively and quantitatively assessed. So they involve a purified and standardized fraction of a plant extract with a specified number of bioactive compounds. And I would like to recollect once again the presentation of Dexa Medica. So whatever the examples they have given, so let it be inlacin or imbumin or phosphate and red acid. So there are, okay, so it's wonderful to see that presentation. So all those products I feel, okay, so they are falling under the category of phytopharmaceuticals. So it is understood that across the globe, the consumers are increasingly seeking evidence-based approaches to herbal remedies So which is where phytopharmaceuticals are positioned to offer healthcare benefit. This is what I understood with the presentation of my earlier speaker. So though phytopharmaceuticals have a wide range of potential therapeutic applications, uh, they do not justify to the fundamental therapeutic principles of Ayush systems. So thus currently such products are not considered under the definition of Ayush drugs. So the 3A and 3H of this Drugs and Cosmetics Act, that classical and traditional formulations are PNP formulations. These are only, okay, so they are considered as traditional products in Indian scenario. So to govern the regulation of such kind of products, so there are, I mean, I said that Drugs and Cosmetics Act is the imposed regulation which is there in the scenario, and so uh, this Act 1940, Drugs and Cosmetics Act 1940. Okay, so it has about means it has 5 chapters in it. So there are 38 sections. There are 2 schedules, and when we come to the regulation of the traditional systems, so we can see, okay, so there are many sections, there are many schedules, there are many parts, there are there are many rules. So all these rules, okay, so they are basically intended towards manufacturing a good, safe, quality, efficacious traditional formulation, manufacturing of traditional formulation. So this is Schedule T. So these components, okay, so whatever which is displayed over here, okay, so it speaks about Schedule T. Schedule T of Drugs and Cosmetics Act 1940. So it is right. It focuses towards the good manufacturing practices for Ayurveda, good manufacturing practices for Siddha and Unani medicines in India. So it aims to ensure that the quality, safety, and efficacy of traditional medicines by specifying requirements for manufacturing practices and its facilities and the quality control. So it has a comprehensive description in terms related to the location where an industry is supposed to be established, how that location is supposed to be, how the surroundings are supposed to be, and how a construction of manufacturing unit is supposed to be. And so what is the nature of adequate water resources should be there or not? What is the quality of water that is being used in various processes, procedures related to the drug manufacturing? How the disposal is supposed to be, disposal of waste is supposed to be maintained, and what is the quality of raw material, and what are those guidelines, okay, so which are supposed to be followed while packing the material. So what is the quality of machinery and what is the quality of so equipment, etc. So in a comprehensive manner. So clear definitions, okay, so are very clear definition they have mentioned, okay, so in this act in relation to uh, uh, what is a misbranded drug, what is an adulterated drug, how spurious drugs are supposed to be identified, how okay they are supposed to be defined, what kind of penalties for manufacture or sale of ASU drugs in contravention of these regulations, etc. So they are seen in this act. So comprehensive information related to the manufacturing of Ayush drugs and mechanism pertaining to licensing, loan licensing, and renewal of licensing to run a pharmacy, and labeling guidelines and packaging guidelines, so sterile packaging, so specific standards of Ayush drugs, etc. So all these things, okay, so they are seen also in these regulations. And when we come to the quality control, you suppose this Pharmacopeal Commission. So Pharmacopeal Commission for Indian Medicine and Homeopathy is the nodal agency. So which is what I can say is a subordinate office under the Ministry of Ayush. So this is basically focuses upon establishing quality standards for Ayush drugs, and also it acts as a central drug testing cum appellate laboratory for Ayush systems of formulations. So it functions with an objective of developing pharmacopoeias and formularies, and these formularies and pharmacopoeias are mandatory to be followed in India by all registered manufacturing units. So standards of identity, standards of purity and quality, and permissible limits of heavy metals and microbial load and pesticide residues, aflatoxins. So they are all they are prescribed in these pharmacopoeias, and following these regulations, these guidelines is very much essential to all the manufacturers across the country. And the quality standards for Ayush drugs are right, so they are well defined. That ensure the safety, that ensure the efficacy and quality of ASU medicines. So the Pharmacopoeia Commission, it follows all these guidelines while developing specifications and standards for these formulations. So the protocol for testing is one guideline, so which has been released by, which has been published by the Ministry of Ayush. So it describes about various standards which are supposed to be followed by the industries, manufacturing units. So it has all those technical guidelines which are supposed to be followed. Okay, so if it are those standard guidelines, standard procedures to do the ash values, otherwise HPLC, HPTLC, right? So how to do the microbial load and heavy, how to identify heavy metals and aflatoxins and stability protocols. All these things are very lucidly, okay, so comprehensively they have been described in this volume. And the standard methodologies, as I said, so they are supposed to be adopted and it is mandate to all the manufacturing units across the country. So the volumes which have been published here, you can see, okay, so the huge amount of publications they have came out from the Pharmacopoeia Commission, and the snapshots, whatever I have mentioned over here. Okay, so these are the volumes published for Ayurveda, and similar kind of volumes do exist for even Siddha and even for Unani and homeopathy as well. Yes, as I said, so enormous work on developing quality standards for Ayush formulations. So it has, it can be seen through that website of Pharmacopoeia Commission. So this is openly accessible. So this information, so you can see how much work. Okay, so it has been done by the Pharmacopoeia Commission. So how many formularies and how many pharmacopoeias for, okay, so this is, this slide is exclusively for the Ayurveda formulations. Not only that, but okay, so you can see for homeopathy, you can see for Unani pharmacopoeias, you can see for the Siddha pharmacopoeias and formularies. Enormous work, okay, so it has been done by the Pharmacopoeia Commission, and so these volumes, so these pharmacopoeias, these standards which have been developed in these volumes, so it is mandated to be followed by any industrial professional individual. So in the country scenario, and we have, so Indian scenario is also have that quality certification system and standard marking system. So it is existing in the country. So that is a voluntary certification system for the quality of ASU products. So it signifies that the manufacturing processes of the product comply with the specific criteria which has been imposed in the country scenario, including good manufacturing practices. So there are two kinds of two levels of certification, as I am mentioning over here. So one is Ayush Standard Mark and Ayush Standard Mark and Ayush Premium Mark. So there are two levels of certification. Standard Mark, so it focuses on compliance with domestic regulatory requirements, whereas the Premium Mark is based upon the stricter GMP and product requirements, often which are aligning with the WHO guidelines. And even so Indian scenario has so this essential drug list. Okay, so it is published even for the traditional systems of right Indian scenario, exclusive guidelines, exclusive EDL for Ayurveda and Siddha medicine, Unani medicine, homeopathy medicine. Okay, so these are the uh, 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 lists, okay, so which have been prepared with a consultative process based on inputs received from the number of stakeholders. And so this is also, it is available in the country scenario. So when we come to the evaluating the safety and efficacy, you suppose all those standard ethical guidelines, so which are framed in the country scenario by following the internationally applicable principles that guide the uh, responsible conduct of research, ethical conduct of research. So ensuring that the well-being of participants and the integrity of the research process. So there are specific committees. There may be, right. So departmental research committee, There are institutional review boards, there are institutional animal ethics committees, there are institutional ethics committees, and more importantly, there are data safety management boards. So all these bodies, technical bodies, so they are essential in all researchers that monitor the activities, that monitor the researches at various levels. And GCP, good clinical practices for ASU drugs, is also published way back in 2013. Uh, uh, so which follows internationally recognized scientific quality standards for designing a study, conducting study, recording and reporting clinical trials involving human subjects and so on. So there are huge amount of information so which we can share. Okay, so in relation to respective domains of, let it be quality or safety or efficacy or whatever, or even for regulatory. But the time frame is, it is very short to share, okay, so all those guidelines. So standard treatment guidelines and protocols for uh, therapeutic approaches are also, right, so they have been attempted by the ministry and are being followed in the country wherever clinical researches are being undertaken on those identified pathological conditions. And the registration is prospective registration of clinical trials is a mandate in Indian scenario. Clinical Trial Registry India (CTRI) so is an online and free public record system for registration of clinical trials. This is being it is launched way back in 2007, almost 20 years. Okay, so since 20 years. Okay, so this platform is, right, it made mandate any trial involving human participants of any intervention, such as, let it be drugs or surgical procedures or preventive measures or lifestyle modifications or whatever it may be. It may be rehabilitation strategy, so including eye systems of medicines. They need to be registered in this portal before enrolling the first participant. So this is very much essential. Without having that prospective registration, patient enrollment is not possible to be done. So this is one important thing. And when we come to the safety, you suppose safety related concerns are primarily, they are considered by many policymakers across the globe. Okay, so we can see this snapshot from the third WHO Global Survey on Traditional and Complementary Medicine. So where majority of the member states, so they accepted of having at least some policies towards safety monitoring of herbal medicines. And when we come to Indian scenario, you suppose, okay, so we have again, okay, so that Drugs and Cosmetics Act, there is one regulation, there is one rule, so which is familiarly known as 158B. 158B is a kind of regulations which outlines the requirements for manufacturers to obtain licenses, including providing proof of safety and effectiveness, adhering to GMPs, good manufacturing practices, and complying with the quality standards specified in the respective pharmacopoeias. Respective pharmacopoeias, when I say it, okay, so it is for Ayurveda. It's if the formulation belongs to Ayurveda, then Ayurveda pharmacopoeia, or Siddha pharmacopoeia, or Unani pharmacopoeia, or homeopathy pharmacopoeia. So these things are supposed to be. So this rule is part of the broader effort to ensure the quality, ensure the safety of traditional Indian medicines, and specifically it addresses the process of obtaining licenses for manufacturing ASU drugs and further, okay, so their dissemination in the market. So the rule, it emphasizes the importance of following quality standards as outlined in the respective pharmacopoeias for each system of medicine, and the state licensing authorities appointed by the state and union territory governments are responsible for enforcing these regulations.
Excuse me, Dr.
And
Galip. Sorry, your
yes,
time, maybe about 3 minutes more. Sorry.
yeah, 2 minutes you said?
Yeah, okay, please.
Okay, fine. So this is also, okay, so one initiative of the Ministry of Ayush. So in the direction of generating safety of Ayush systems in Indian scenario. So the Ministry of Ayush, it has established this pharmacovigilance program exclusively for Ayush drugs. So India is the one country, so where two separate programs are running successfully for traditional and conventional medical systems when pharmacovigilance is considered, suppose. So the consumers always feel, across the globe, the consumers feel that traditional medicines are safe and they will not manifest any sort of adverse drug reactions. But to address that specific concern and educate the professional communities, pharmacovigilance program, it has been established in 2019 in India. And this snapshot gives a brief outlook about the existing functionality of pharmacovigilance. So it functions on a three-tier system and have about 100 centers across the country. So with an objective to inculcate the reporting culture in the healthcare professionals, facilitate documentation of suspected adverse drug reactions, and evolve evidence-based recommendations on clinical safety. So huge amount of publications, they are available in that direction. So towards the safety, towards the efficacy, towards the right quality. Ayush Research Portal is a platform, so where basically which is basically meant for disseminating such kind of publications. It is in open domains, everyone can access it. As I said, volumes of documents, they are in public domain that can be used as reference documents and guiding forces in framing policies by respective countries. And when we come to that last point, obviously integration. So integration is very much essential. The Ministry of Ayush has signed several MOUs, Memorandum of Understandings, to integrate science and innovation into the Ayush sector. In India, the Department of Science and Technology, DST, right, it functions with an objective of promoting new areas of science and technology and to play a role of nodal department for organizing science and technology activities in the country. So Ministry of Ayush, it has a strong collaboration with DST. So where Ayush will focus on identifying key Ayush related trust areas, advancing basic concepts, procedures, and developing new tools in aligning with modern sciences. And DST will coordinate in implementing these thirst areas. So this is what so one example with DST. And the second example is so it's an Indian Institute of Technology. So they refers to a prestigious groups of public engineering and technology institutions in India. So Ministry of Ayush has so it has MOUs with with these IITs. So and they have developed MOUs. Okay, so where Ayurtech for integrative precision health and medicine. Okay, so it has been developed where artificial intelligence and digital health and multi-omics. So they are being used to drive precision Ayurveda. So the emerging field of genomics, where Ayurveda's core concepts are being connected with the modern genetics, is an example of how research is paving the way for personalized treatments and tailored to individual genetic profiles. So similarly, so we have agreements with the CSIR, so Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, or in Indian Council of Agricultural Research, Department of Biotechnology for evidence-based biotechnological interventions, and even Ayush and ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research, is focusing on clinical trials and research on priority diseases, which will strengthen the scientific foundation of Ayush therapies. So these are some of the examples how collaborative initiative can be done with science-based institutions. This is vital for translating traditional Ayush knowledge into evidence-based practices that can integrate seamlessly into the modern healthcare system. So, the considering the significant researches and impactful outcomes and evidences that have been generated in during all these decades of researches during these years, so the International Organization of Standardization (ISO) has very recently it has officially so they have formed a dedicated Ayurveda and Yoga subcommittee under ISO TC 249, so which is familiarly known as now traditional medicine. So these initiatives of Ministry of Ayush are the successful models to follow towards integrating with modern science. So this ensures that the tradition can definitely deliver evidence-based, personalized healthcare solutions that will resonate with the global audiences. So I would like to reinforce that the earlier speaker, okay, so he has said, okay, so in his presentation that natural products with good quality control can do wonders. Yes, I do reinforce that the same, and with the continued support for research, continued support from the technology and entrepreneurship. Currently, Ayush is well positioned to play a leading role in the future of holistic and integrative healthcare. So with that, I would like to thank for giving me this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Galip, for your enlightening presentation. We now see how India has been implementing about the regulation on the framework and guidelines for evaluating safety and efficacy for innovative traditional medicine products in India. And Dr. And Dr. Galip has explained regarding about how demands for traditional medicine and how in traditional medicine in India itself we know that Ayurveda system and regulatory framework, and how about the standard for Ayush product and guidelines for evaluating safety and efficacy, integrating traditional knowledge with science. So at this point, I would like to open the floor for discussion. Participants in this floor and maybe in the Zoom are very welcoming to share question, comments, or reflection addressed to either Professor Rahman or Dr. Galip. Okay, please maybe from this room you have question. Maybe we can talk in Indonesia. Nggak apa-apa ya, Prof ya. It's okay. It's okay. In bahasa it's okay if you address to Professor Rahman. And maybe to Dr. Galip from India. Okay, please. Yeah, we have two participants. Maybe Professor Lydia. Professor, maybe yeah, Prof. Liana. You can, yeah, please.
First, thank you. Thank you. I'm Liana from Dexa Medica. I would like to ask for Dr. Galip. Thank you for your comprehensive presentation about the regulation for innovative traditional medicine in India. I would like to ask, you mentioned that the innovative traditional medicine there categorized as there are patent or proprietary medicines and also phytopharmaceuticals. Can actually those traditional medicines, those products, have a therapeutic claim? If they can have therapeutic claim, to what extent the clinical trials is required? Do they have to have pivotal studies, or it is enough to just have pilot studies, just like you presented also that the proprietary medicines can have only pilot or published papers, pilot studies or published papers. So to what extent clinical trials actually required there for the innovative traditional medicines in India? I think that's the question for now.
Yeah, so the question was clear for me.
Yeah, thank you.
And
Please,
yes,
you can
yes.
directly answer, please.
Yeah, so you are asking about the definition of classical and P&P products, and whether clinical trials are needed before their marketing. Okay, so this is what your question. So the thing is, as I said, so there is 158B. Okay, so this is one regulation, one rule, okay, which is prevailing in the country. So it's a part and parcel of that Drugs and Cosmetics Act. So it clearly mentions about different categories of the formulations. One, definitely it is a classical drug. So classical drug as mentioned in the first schedule. So when it is a classical drug, when it is manufactured at par with the regulations as mentioned in the first scheduled books, schedule 1 books, so it can directly be entered into the market without having further evidences. But when it come to a new chemical entity, when it come to P&P products, so there also so we have the individual need to the manufacturing individual, so he need to provide data on safety, data on quality, data on efficacy. So unless if they doesn't have these profiles, so they cannot launch the product into the market. They need to have the profiles on efficacy, profiles on safety, profiles on quality. So this is mandate according to that regulation of 158B. I hope I'm clear.
Yeah, Dr. Galip, I have follow-up question. The clinical trials you mentioned as mandatory, do they have to be pivotal, like the sample size should be should be meet the minimum sample size, and also the conduct should follow the best practice, the good clinical practice, and also like the conventional drug. Do we have to follow?
It is obvious. It is obvious when we said that it's a clinical trial. So when we said that it is efficacy profile is supposed to be developed, all those good practices are supposed to be followed mandatorily.
Oh,
It is mandate. Yes.
okay. Okay, clear.
Yeah.
Clear, Dr. Galip. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the answer, Dr. Galip. Maybe we can next Mbak siapa?
Pisa.
Mbak Prisa, oke please.
Mungkin pertanyaannya untuk Prof. Rayman.
Ya.
In bahasa nggak apa-apa ya, Prof?
Boleh.
Oke, terima kasih atas sharingnya, Prof. Rayman. Cukup menarik sekali tentang pengembangan obat herbal di Deksa ya, Prof. Seperti yang kita ketahui, dengan segala penjelasan dari Prof tadi kan cukup banyak studi dan juga teknologi yang diperlukan dalam pengembangan obat herbal. Nah, kira-kira dengan teknologi dan studi yang seperti itu tuh aspek yang perlu kita perhatikan dalam menghasilkan produk herbal, pengembangan produk herbal yang baik, dan juga sharing tentang bagaimana kita memanage cost of good manufacturer-nya si Prof. Itu yang pertama. Yang kedua, kira-kira pengembangan obat herbal sendiri itu membutuhkan waktu berapa lama ya, Prof, sampai dia bisa dapat status fitofarmaka? Terima kasih.
Oke, aku ingetin dulu soalnya.
Ya.
Oke, terima kasih Mbak Prita ya. Mbak Prita ya.
Pisa.
Mbak Pisa dari
Ibu Pisa.
Bintang 7 ya, Mbak?
Oke, ya terima kasih Ibu Pisa. Ya. Kriteria yang penting kan nomor satu itu kalau kita, it's okay in English or, ya, kalau kita mau mengembangkan suatu produk, kita mesti mikir marketnya dahulu. Kita mau memarketkan lewat OTC atau kita mau memasarkan lewat dokter, itu penting ya, karena pembuatannya beda. Kalau kita tahu market kita, misalnya untuk OTC, mungkin kita nggak usah sampai fitofarmaka ya. Kita bisa sampai hanya jamu atau HT. Kalau itu obat herbal ya, OBA, obat herbal bahan alam sekarang namanya. Ya. Tapi kalau kita mau ke arahnya itu market dokter, ya paling sedikit ya OHT sama fitofarmaka. Nah, dengan demikian, maka kalau kita mau mengarah kemana, desain daripada eksperimen kita itu harus diarahkan ke sana. End up-nya itu produk yang diregistrasikan sebagai apa sih, intinya gitu. Ini assuming market Indonesia, ya. Karena di luar negeri mintanya lain lagi nih. Kita minta didaftarkan sebagai suplemen kesehatan, bisa juga, atau sebagai suatu istilahnya itu organic entity of traditional value. Itu beberapa negara Eropa itu punya seperti itu, Australia juga punya. Artinya kita mesti registrasikan sebagai, bisa sebagai food ingredient ya, tapi punya traditional value, sudah dipakai bertahun-tahun, itu boleh. Nah itu requirement-nya beda lagi. Nah kalau kita lihat Indonesia, OHT maupun fitofarmaka, dan we have to make sure that the product in which we will be developing will meet up this clinical standard. Maka dari itu akan lama, tadi Bu siapa? Pisa, tanyakan, itu rata-rata 6-7 tahun untuk bikin satu fitofarmaka. Selama itu memang, karena apa? Karena uji kliniknya ya mesti ada fase 1, pilot skill, pilot study, pivotal study, dari Bu Liana udah katakan, dan lain-lain. Itu harus dilakuin. Tapi kalau kita mau bicara mengenai jamu ya, yang kita mau mengasih efikasi apa enggak? Itu pertanyaan. Saya selalu bertanya, kalau kita ngasih efikasi, means our extract will have to have certain biological marker yang memberikan efikasi itu. Jadi nggak bisa, saya punya bunga apapun juga, saya mau bikin ekstrak, saya dengar dari buku ini, orang ini katanya khasiatnya demikian, saya nggak percaya sama itu. Karena kalau nggak kita periksa fitokimia dan benar-benar kita lakukan dengan biomolekular, we do not know how it works. Even though the book says it is good and for this and this. Kenapa? Yang ditulis di buku-buku kuno itu kan kebanyakan dari experience orang yang ditanam di daerah tertentu. Dua tanaman yang sama kalau ditanam di daerah berbeda, maka secondary metabolitnya akan beda, nggak akan memberikan efek yang sama. Nah, jadi itu makanya kalau kita mau buat jamu, ya udah oke, kita buat jamu dengan formula itu ya, tapi mesti digedein ingredientnya. Makanya jamu-jamu itu isinya 7 atau 8 ingredientnya. Memang itu secara tradisional bikinnya seperti itu namanya kan empiris ya. Tapi kalau if your question is we want to target OHT maupun fitofarmaka, only with one plant you should be able to. Karena apa? Seperti yang kita tunjukkan tadi, satu plant itu banyak sekali secondary metabolitnya. Di batang sendiri lain, di akar sendiri lain, di daun sendiri lain, di cabangnya lain. Kita tinggal pilihin aja itu satu body of plant, mau yang mana yang ditargetkan dan kita enrich that extract. That's why we are able to come up with many extract, many fraction from one plant. Jadi yang lihat di contoh tadi ya, cinnamon bulmani dari isolate yang berbeda itu, walaupun sama bahan bakunya. Ya. Nah terus gimana cara menurunkan COGS? Nah ini penting sekali, karena riset itu tidak berhenti di laboratorium. Riset itu berhenti pada waktu kita bisa meningkatkan pilot plant yang tadinya di laboratorium paling cuma 500 gram, sekilo paling banyak. Tapi we're talking about 100 kilogram itu di pilot plant. Kita naikin lagi kalau 2000 liter kita berton. Nah ini COGS-nya, COGM-nya ini harus rendah. Ya dari permulaan kita bicarakan bahwa proses robust itu dari permulaan pada waktu kita mulai dari R&D. Dan ini juga mesti dipastikan bahwa sudah dihitung semua. Nah itu satu hal lagi kita yang di business development untuk memikirkan produk apa yang masa depan selain produk jamu, produk OTC dan lain-lain. Kita mesti target costing itu penting dari ideation of products. Ada banyak ide bagus, ini bagus tapi tidak masuk dalam COGM kita ya. Flop, hilang. Jadi itu banyak kriterianya ya, jadi intinya itu bukan hanya bikin produk, tapi bikin produk yang yieldnya tinggi, COGM-nya rendah, disukai oleh para pengguna, ya, itu yang susah. Makanya bikin produk itu lebih susah daripada bikin riset. Anyone can do research, but nobody, not too many people can make good products. With low COGS, high yield, good target market, dan konsistensi, efficacy, dan safety. Itu yang terjadi. Kasih ya, Bu bisa.
Thank you very much, Professor Raymond. Maybe we can take it in the Zoom. Is there any question from the Zoom? Maybe you can raise your hand or chat in the chat room, please. Ya, ada yang di ini nggak, Mbak? Saya nggak lihat. Apakah ada yang ditanyakan dari Zoom meeting, dari ruang Zoom? Silahkan, Bapak Ibu. Ya, oke. Prof. Raymond, maybe this is a question for Professor Raymond from Tiara Guardian Parmatama. In bahasa. Saya ingin bertanya dengan Prof. Raymond, apakah dengan proses vaksinasi dari ekstrak yang telah diteliti selama ini, proses tersebut dapat menghilangkan atau mengurangi efek samping dari ekstrak tersebut dibanding ekstrak proses biasa? Misalnya ekstrak ikan gabus, efek sampingnya alergi atau gangguan pencernaan. Dan pertanyaan kedua adalah bagaimana menjaga kestabilan sebuah fraksi agar lebih maksimal? Ya, kita langsung saja, Prof. Monggo.
Siap, ya, terima kasih Mbak Tiara ya. Slide-nya saya suka lupa kalau ditanyain, jadi saya mesti baca ya. Oke.
Mungkin panitia boleh share slide-nya?
Ada tuh.
Ya.
Ada ya. Jadi apakah memang efek samping itu bisa dihilangkan kalau kita membuat fraksi atau membuat ekstrak? Pertanyaan ini bagus sekali. Karena yang tadi seperti ini ke extension dari apa yang Bu Pisa tadi ditanyakan. Gimana sih kita ngurangin efek samping? Bisa. Karena gini, efek samping itu adalah efek yang tidak kita inginkan. supaya mengurangi adalah adverse reaction atau adverse effect, yaitu kejadian yang tidak inginkan. Kalau kita menggunakan sistem biomolekular, kita targeted terhadap certain gene, itu aja itu sudah mengurangi efek samping yang liar yang di luar. Itu satu. Nomor dua, kita menggunakan certain fraction tertentu. Berarti hal-hal yang lain, apalagi kalau kayak ini, ekstrak gabus. Yang kita ambil kan cuma 3 protein tadi itu. Inbum ini cuma 3 protein. Dengan molecular weight dikurang dari 100 kilodalton. Yang lainnya, mau karbohidrat, mau lipid, mau apapun juga kita hilangkan udah. Dengan sistem bioteknologi. Otomatis itu udah ngurangin alergi. Itu udah ngurangin masalah pencernaan. Itu ngurangin apa-apa macam-macam orang yang tidak bisa mengambil efek sistem. Apalagi yang tadi kita bicarakan memberikus rubellus itu. Itu lebih banyak lagi itu side effect kalau kita kasihin apa. Tapi dengan menggunakan bioteknologi, dengan desain yang jelas. Ini tugasnya. Seorang saintis kita menggunakan desain experimentation yang jelas untuk dari permulaan kita menghilangin efek samping. Jawabannya yes. Dan gimana kita tahunya? Ya selain kita lakukan toxicity study ya, kita juga lakukan uji klinik. Maka fase 1 itu penting sekali untuk melakukan safety effect. Jadi kalau uji klinik fase 1 di obat itu mencari dosis, kita lakukan fase 1 hanya untuk clinical safety effect saja. Contohnya Rubricus rubellus itu yang dari dissolve, dari cacing, kita lakukan fase 1. Di manusia ada 2 protokol kita lakukan hanya untuk melihat keamanan saja. Karena ini kan untuk trombolisis dan trombosis, kita takut pasiennya bleeding contohnya. Nah ini dipastikan bahwa kita tidak menggunakan INR seperti heparin, warfarin, atau kumarin, dan lain-lain. Sehingga safety effect-nya itu bisa dilakukannya. Yang kedua adalah bagaimana menjaga kestabilan agar fraksi lebih maksimal. Nah ini kembali lagi, kestabilan sebuah fraksi atau kestabilan sebuah ekstrak, itu dipastikan bahwa bahan bakunya murni dulu. Kalau bahan bakunya itu sudah tercemar, kita masukin dalam mesin, ya pasti nanti keluarnya nanti tidak akan stabil fraksi atau ekstraknya. Kalau kita sudah bisa mengkontrol dari raw material, kita sudah mengurangi kira-kira 90%. Nah, di lain dari itu, stabilnya suatu ekstrak, ya kita lihat hasilnya pada waktu kita menggunakan ekstrak itu dilakukan stability study. Itu yang melakukan, dan kalau kita memang ekstrak kita tidak stabil, kita banyak sekali loh pengalaman di mana ekstrak kita tidak stabil. Kita akan kembali reverse engineer, where we starting, apa yang membuat ekstrak ini tidak stabil. Dan dalam banyak bahan yang tidak memungkinkan bahwa ekstrak itu stabil, walaupun datanya bagus, secara biomolekular bagus, nanti dilakukan preclinical bagus, tapi ternyata ekstraknya tidak stabil, dan kita tidak bisa meningkatkan kestabilan ekstrak, ya flop. Kita harus berani untuk scratch the value of the project, kadang-kadang itu udah keluar 1 miliar, ya sudah hilang, mau bilang apa? Daripada nanti kita bikin produk yang tidak stabil ekstraknya. Jadi kestabilan buah ekstrak dimulai dari raw material, pastikan quality control, pastikan prosesnya, pastikan juga bahwa kita juga memastikan bahwa end of the product also follow the quality yang kita mulai dari permulaan, karena ekstraknya stabil, produk akhirnya juga stabil. Oke, kira-kira gitu, Bu Tiara.
Ya, terima kasih banyak Prof. Raymond, sangat clear ya penjelasannya tadi tentang kestabilan. Tentunya bahan baku tadi ya sangat penting, raw material, pastikan proses, pastikan produk akhir ya. Mungkin jadi pelajaran juga Bapak Ibu industri nih, biar kita sama-sama bagaimana membuat produk itu lebih stabil. Oke? Oh, boleh. Dr. Galib, Professor Raymond will has comment for you, please, Dr. Raymond.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Galib. I commend you because in India there is Ayush Ministry, Kementerian Ayush ya. Levelnya itu kementerian. Sedangkan di kita tradisional itu levelnya apa? Tidak ada kementerian. Tidak ada sama sekali. Meaning apa? Kita bikin produk, bikin macam-macam, Dr. Galib. That's why I commend the Indian government for bravery making the Ministry of Ayush. That makes the Ayush is very respected product. And I know in the in the whole world, the total sales of Ayurvedic and so on that you talk about is about 15 billion US dollar, 15 miliar US dollar. While our jamu, guess berapa in US dollar? Ada yang tahu? Berapa ayo?
Ayo industri, ada yang tahu?
Ada yang tahu nggak? Cuma 9 juta US dollar. 9 million US dollar. mereka bisa bikin 15 miliar US dollar. Why? Commitment of the government to make it into not national, but they export Ayurveda product, 15 billion US dollar. Ours, kita ini jadiin adalah a big fish in a small pond, hanya di Indonesia. Jadi kita kalau mau gedein, ya mesti industri, terutama pemerintah harus berani untuk bikin kementerian nih. Kalau kita lihatnya kayak gitu, di Jepang sudah dibikin, Korea dibikin, di India juga dibikin, di China sudah dibikin. Ayo kita di Indonesia, kenapa enggak kita gedein? Ini sama-sama ini, banyak industri di sini, WHO, whoever, apa namanya, yang semua datang. Tapi kalau kita tidak pay attention, ya cuma segini aja nih. OBA yang kita bangga-banggakan itu cuma segini. Tidak bisa mengglobal, tidak bisa mendunia. Nah kita, Deksa cuma satu perusahaan, tapi kalau kalian juga ikut sama-sama kita mau globalkan. Tapi kembali lagi di Indonesia sendiri, fitofarmaka dipakai apa enggak? Orang negeri itu nanya, you guys, is your doctor using your own product? Jawabannya adalah masih minus. Because we don't pay attention to our own product. Because we don't pay attention to our own research. Gimana kita bisa balap? India udah punya Ministry of Ayurveda. So that's why I commend your government, Dr.
Galip.
Dr. Galip, yeah. So hopefully you can teach much more in
Yes.
terms of the this endeavor. Very important for us. Thank you so much for your presentation today.
Okay, thank you. Maybe some comment from Dr. Galip, please.
I'm there. So I do agree. So what has just now been mentioned. So constant support and continued usage of modern technology and entrepreneurship. Okay, so all these things are very much essential in this specific time period. And World Health Organization. Okay, so not only the WHO but across the globe, people, the healthcare professionals, policymakers, they are enthusiastically looking towards the traditional systems of medicines because of various reasons. So they are looking towards the systems with a hope that traditional systems can provide some satisfactory relief. Otherwise, molecules for the miserable conditions of various pathological conditions. And yes, we need to well position ourselves, our traditional systems. We need to uplift the systems. We need to generate evidences so that the global community can we can move towards the globalization, I feel so. So this is what I would like to say, and I would like to thank the organizers for giving me this wonderful opportunity. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much for your comment, Dr. Galip. Maybe from this floor, please, you have any question? Mungkin dari Mbak Putri ada question? The Pak Tepi, you have any question? Okay. Maybe from the Zoom, ada lagi Mbak? Yang panitia, apakah masih ada pertanyaan dari ruang chat? Ya, mungkin saya sedikit pertanyaan kepada Prof. Raymond nih. Prof. Raymond di PT Dexa Medica sebagian besar itu produk fitofarmaka ini dari Dexa Medica nih. Tadi disebutkan bahwa you have mentioned that the three products fitofarmaka Dexa Group on the formularium fitofarmaka. So bagaimana PT Dexa Medica ini tips and trick di bagian industri bagaimana untuk menerapkan produk-produknya untuk sebagai bisa masuk ke dalam fitofarmaka. Begitu, Prof.
Membuat atau menerapkan?
Maksudnya tips-tipsnya lah gitu. Untuk bisa produk itu bisa mendapatkan masuk dan juga masuk formulir.
Okay. What are the clues to make products into fitofarmaka basically ya? Kembali lagi kemauan. kemauan untuk mencoba, kemauan untuk bereksperimentasi, dan kemauan untuk memastikan bahwa produk kita mempunyai quality yang bagus dan mau untuk diuji. Karena banyak tuh teman-teman tuh ketakutan tuh diuji ya, because we're not sure. Nah, tapi kembali lagi, kita punya science, kita punya cara untuk memvalidasi apakah hipotesa kita itu benar. Contohnya, kita membuat produk dari fitofarmaka, misalnya aja untuk penyakit, jangan hipertensi, misalnya penyakit untuk gagal jantung. It's possible loh, dikoksin aja dulu dari tanaman kok, dikoksin ya. Nah itu, kita mesti mencari secara nilai scientificnya, dimulai dari patofisiologi yang kita mesti tahu. Kemudian apa ya masalah molekuler, masalah fisiologis yang terjadi. Dan kita targetkan salah satu target molekul itu dengan produk kita, dengan ekstrak atau fraksi kita. Atau kalau isolate juga bagus. Nah kemudian kalau sudah demikian, maka kita akan mempunyai confident level bahwa produk ini akan memang menjawab kebutuhan medis. Gitu. Dari situ kita kembangkan lebih lanjut. Sehingga kalau kita uji klinik, kita akan yakin bahwa uji ini akan menghasilkan hal yang sangat positif. Hasilnya positif dah, baru nanti kalau udah uji klinik, udah dilakukan, dapat approval Badan POM, masuk ke formularium fitofarmaka. Tapi nampaknya formularium fitofarmaka tidak berhenti di situ, harusnya mesti kembali ke formularium nasional. Ya, gitu. Itu kira-kira.
Ya, terima kasih Prof atas sharingnya. Ada lagi pertanyaan mungkin dari Bapak Ibu? Oke, silakan. Mungkin bisa mic-nya, panitia. Silakan Pak Dr. Tepi. Pak Tepi.
Baik, terima kasih Prof. Raymond. Mungkin saya ingin dapat insight dari Prof. Raymond ya. Dari Deksa kan banyak mengembangkan fitofarmaka ya. Dan memang saya sudah mengetahui juga sebenarnya bagaimana sih persoalan fitofarmaka ini kok enggak ada nilai tambah gitu ya. Setelah dikembangkan mahal-mahal, mungkin masih susah dipakai di pelayanan kesehatan secara optimal gitu ya, karena memang ada berbagai kendala yang kita tahu sendiri ya. Kalau memang kita lihat pengembangan fitofarmaka uji kliniknya sudah bagus, kemudian mungkin sudah bisa setara lah dengan obat-obat barat ya. Ada enggak dari mungkin pendekatan-pendekatan tertentu ke dokter ya? Soalnya setahu saya ya, ada yang beberapa saya kenalan yang juga mengembangkan fitofarmaka ya, dengan melihat situasi seperti ini, mereka juga mendekati ke dokter ya. Jadi walaupun karena dokter melihat efeknya tuh, walaupun memang belum secara resmi di dalam rumah sakit pemerintah, tetapi dokter itu secara diam-diam mereka udah pakai. Ya, karena memang lebih aman, kemudian mungkin ininya ya. Cuma mungkin salah satu kendala harganya mungkin masih belum bisa bersaing dengan obat-obat standar yang dengan penyakit tertentu gitu ya. Dengan obat kimia kan mungkin lebih murah, generik gitu ya. Kalau fitofarmaka mungkin lebih mahal ya. Jadi mungkin salah satunya memang harus untuk produksi secara massal dan itu harus membutuhkan kebutuhan permintaan dari pemerintah dalam jumlah besar. Itu kita pahami ya. Bagaimana kira-kira dari Deksa sendiri untuk mensiasati hal ini ya. Itu yang pertama. Kedua mungkin bagaimana ya kalau fitofarmaka ini penerimaannya di negara lain. Ya, karena memang kalau memang di Indonesia sendiri memang masih ada kendala ya. Kalau mungkin di negara lain yang bisa menerima ya, apakah ada pengalaman yang bisa diceritakan bahwa memang fitofarmaka dari kita itu, wah dari negara lain itu udah terima dan udah mampu bersaing dengan ini obat-obat Western medicine seperti itu. Mungkin ini bisa menambah semangat juga untuk teman-teman yang lain untuk memproduksi fitofarmaka lebih banyak ya seperti Deksa Medica. Mungkin dari saya terima kasih Prof. Raymond.
Terima kasih Dr. Tepi, ini pendapat yang baik sekali ya. Nomor satu, apakah pendekatannya pada dokter-dokter itu juga sudah kami lakukan, tapi karena gini, Ada beberapa produk itu yang memang cocok untuk dokter dan mereka mau meresepkan. Nah itu namanya pasarnya itu pasar reguler, Dokter Tepi. Artinya tidak mainstream, hanya dokter-dokter tertentu yang suka dengan menggunakan produk-produk berasal dari bahan alam Indonesia. Mereka mau menuliskan. Tapi itu cuma sedikit. Kita populasi univers dokter itu kan puluhan, berapa ya? Berapa pokoknya itu paling cuma 0,5% yang kita bicarakan target dokter itu ya. Kalau mau membuat obat kita masuk, produk apa saja, ya harus masuk formularium di BPJS. Dan disitulah akan terjadi kekuatan di mana obat herbal yang sudah diriset dan dibuat di Indonesia digunakan dalam kesehatan formal. Itu nilainya tinggi dan itu akan secara langsung, secara natural menurunkan harga COGS. Harga jualnya akan jauh lebih turun. Karena apa? Sekarang yang menggunakan lebih banyak lagi. Ini yang tidak bisa mass of economic skill belum bisa terjadi di Indonesia karena ya hanya beberapa dokter aja yang menggunakan. Tapi kalau kita buka keran itu sehingga para dokter yang di puskesmas di mana bisa menggunakan, pasti harga itu akan turun. Karena apa? Demand meningkat, harga akan turun. Nah itu yang sedang kami lakukan. Karena ada Capmenkes, keputusan Menteri Kesehatan nomor 54 tahun 2018 yang tidak boleh menggunakan bahan alam, suplemen ya di BPJS. Semoga itu dirubah. Ya. Yang kedua, apakah dokter di luar negeri mau menggunakan? Ternyata banyak loh. Yang mau dan respons mau menggunakan itu banyak sekali. Karena apa? Karena datanya udah di backup oleh uji klinik. Nah, uji klinik ini yang membuat mereka convince. Kami pernah mengirim ya, obat untuk kembung, mual muntah, isinya cuma fraksi jahe. Tapi kami ambil hanya beberapa komponen yang memang mempunyai efeknya itu untuk flatulen dan untuk bagus. Kita kirim ke Amerika, kita kirim ke Kanada waktu itu, registrasi US FDA, ya, kemudian Kanada ya. Responsnya bagus sekali, kita kirim beberapa kontainer. Sayang aja distributor kita itu bangkrut waktu itu, jadi stop sekarang salesnya. Itu terjadi kira-kira 5 tahun, tapi kontainer-kontaineran kita hanya dengan menggunakan fraksi itu. Nah, jadi di sini artinya kemungkinan kita menjadi Ayurveda seperti yang tadi Dr. Galib katakan itu ada. Kalau kita memang menggunakan itu dengan baik dan kita juga menggunakan di dalam sini ini. Konsisten bahwa di Indonesia digunakan dengan jumlah yang volume yang besar. Artinya itu apa? Kalau pemerintah mau memasukkan BPJS, obat herbal, artinya pemerintah juga mengakui keefektivitasan bahan alam Indonesia. Yang sekarang belum terjadi. Kita yang melakukan riset ya, beliau ini juga melakukan riset, beliau ini sama dengan saya, frustasinya lebih besar daripada kesenangannya. Karena riset-riset beliau nggak dipakai, nggak jadi produk. Kalau jadi produk pun tidak dipakai oleh para dokter. Nggak memungkinkan gitu. Karena mungkin harganya tinggi atau tidak dimungkinkan gitu ya. Nah itu yang harapan kami, sehingga di dunia luar negeri itu juga terjadi kalau misalnya kalau kita berikan pada mereka, mereka dengan senang hati kok menggunakan. Ya, gitu ya, Dr. Tepi. Terima kasih.
Ya, terima kasih Prof. Raymond dan Pak Tepi atas pertanyaannya. Mungkin satu penanya lagi dari floor sini, ada yang ingin bertanya? Silahkan. Dari Zoom, apakah ada panitia, ada pertanyaan? Ya. Kalau kita tutup saja.
Tutup lapar semua kan.
Ada. Oh, ada yang raise hand. Silahkan. Soalnya di sini nggak kelihatan ya. Silahkan bisa dibuka yang raise hand, silahkan please.
Terima kasih, moderator.
Ya, oke. Oh, ya Pak Victor. Ya, apa kabar?
Ya. Selamat siang. Terima kasih atas kesempatan yang diberikan kepada saya. Ada 1 atau 2 komentar untuk presentasi dari Pak Raymond. Pertama adalah mengenai market size dari herbal products di Indonesia. Kalau menurut saya bukan hanya sekitar $9 juta, sudah almost $1 billion US dollars, sekitar 14 triliun something market herbal medicine di Indonesia. Tapi kalau kita bicara mengenai ekspor, ke global, mungkin angkanya jauh lebih rendah masih lebih besar dari 9 juta US dollar. Katakan 10% dari market size kita sudah diekspor, maka itu value-nya kira-kira 140 billion atau 10 juta US dollar. Kalau untuk ekspor daripada herbal medicine kita ke luar negeri, ke global market. Itu satu poin. Nah, kemudian yang kedua mengenai peluang dari produk OHT ataupun fitofarmaka untuk digunakan di rumah sakit pemerintah dalam rangka BPJS. Ini yang masih kita tunggu-tunggu, tetapi janji dari Kemenkes itu sering disampaikan di dalam berbagai pertemuan, webinar semacam ini yang saya ikuti, tetapi memang realisasinya masih belum. Walaupun pada satu sesi di mana saya berbicara sebagai pembicara bersama-sama dengan pembicara dari Kemenkes dan juga dari LKPP, diinformasikan bahwa penggunaan dari OHT dan fitofarmaka sudah cukup besar. Jumlahnya waktu itu disebutkan beberapa miliar, walaupun masih sangat kecil. Nah, ini yang kita harapkan supaya bola kecil ini bisa menggelinding menjadi lebih besar dengan adanya polisi yang jangan hanya berupa promises and promises again yang disampaikan oleh regulator kita, tetapi buatlah itu menjadi suatu kenyataan karena disampaikan dalam beberapa event ataupun pada pembukaan event kemarin bahwa jumlah fitofarmaka kita bukan bertambah, malah kurang 1 atau 2 disebabkan karena faktor marketability, tidak bisa bersaing di pasar. Memang kita akui fitofarmaka kita untuk cost per unit ataupun cost per terapi, kalau kita bandingkan dengan obat konvensional yang in the same therapeutic class, itu memang bukan relatif lagi, sangat mahal, bisa 4 kali sampai 5 kali lebih mahal. Apakah itu cost per unit ataupun cost per treatment per month atau per year. Hal ini disebabkan karena memang produk dari fitofarmaka kita masih dalam skala yang kecil ya, jadi belum mencapai economic scale yang bisa bersaing dengan conventional medicine. Tetapi kalau ini tidak disubsidi, diberikan support dari pemerintah, yang kecil ini akan tetap kecil terus. Saya khawatir jumlahnya nanti bukan bertambah malah semakin berkurang karena endpoint dari fitofarmaka ini dari perspektif industri adalah apa? Adalah akhirnya kan ke profit juga. Bagaimana kita bisa mengembalikan investasi yang sangat besar dalam uji klinik dengan berhasilnya di pemasaran produk fitofarmaka ini. Kalau tidak ada satu produk pun fitofarmaka yang sukses di dalam negeri, walaupun tadi sudah disampaikan sudah sukses beberapa produk dari Dexa di luar negeri, tentunya ini tidak memberikan insentif ya bagi industri obat tradisional ataupun industri farmasi untuk melanjutkan existing project di fitofarmaka ataupun project baru untuk pengembangan fitofarmaka. Nah, poin ketiga yang ingin saya sampaikan, mohon 1 menit saja lagi, memang dalam pengembangan fitofarmaka untuk menekan harga, ini kita perlu menyusun formula yang lebih sederhana. Ya, kalau misalnya bisa single simplicia itu lebih baik, tapi maksimum seperti yang sudah ada guidance dari Badan POM maksimum 3 simplicia. Tetapi kalau sudah more than 3 simplicia, sulit untuk kita memanage cost of goods sold-nya itu supaya nanti end produknya bisa bersaing dengan conventional medicine. Demikian, terima kasih atas kesempatan yang diberikan. Demikian pendapat saya. Terima kasih. Selamat siang.
Ya, terima kasih. Pak Victor, silahkan Prof.
Ya, terima kasih Pak Victor. Berjumpa kembali kita. Dan saya setuju, mungkin saya maaf ya tadi ya, quoting total sales market mungkin benar Pak Victor, 1 billion US dollar ya, tapi intinya itu masih di bawah, relatif di bawah Ayurveda, itu yang kita mesti catch up ya. Dan yang kedua saya setuju apa yang Pak Victor katakan, Dr. Victor ini memang ahli di bidang fitofarmaka, perherbalan sejak dulu ya, kita sudah banyak diskusi. Poin nomor 2 dan poin nomor 3, kalau tidak ada mau dan itikat baik dari pemerintah, saya setuju sekali sama beliau katakan, tidak akan maju kita ini, kita akan bergerak di tempat. Karena industrinya mau maju, tapi semuanya belum mempunyai kesempatan untuk mau memajukan lewat regulasi ya. Nah itu yang tadi Pak Vektor katakan, gimana sih kalau kita bisa mau merubah diri, Kementerian Kesehatan keluarkan keputusan Menteri Kesehatan nomor 54 tahun 2018 untuk menghilangkan kemungkinan untuk digunakannya obat bahan alam di semua formularium di pemerintah dan juga di BPJS di daerah vaskes manapun. Nah itu aja diganti udah berubah. Mungkin kita lebih bergairah, mungkin kita lebih mengadakan lebih banyak sekali penelitian dan bahkan uji klinis untuk membuat lebih banyak fitofarmaka. Itu adalah kunci. Makanya saya setuju sama Pak Victor ini yang memang sudah benar-benar punya hati untuk bagaimana kita bekerja sama untuk mengembangkan pasar obat bahan alam Indonesia ini ya. Terima kasih ya Dr. Victor atas ini.
Ya, terima kasih Prof. Kita akhiri ya Bapak Ibu sekalian. Ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude today sharing session, we have seen how innovation technology are shaping the future of both phytotherapy and traditional medicine, and how regulatory benchmark play a crucial role in ensuring their safe and effective use. On behalf of the organizer, I would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to our speakers, Professor Ramon R. Chandrawinata and Dr. Galip, for sharing their knowledge and expertise, and to all participants for your active engagement. Maybe we can take a big applause for the speakers, two speakers.
Take applause for the moderator.
Yeah, thank you. So we hope this session inspire further collaboration and knowledge exchange across countries and institutions. Thank you very much, and we look forward to continuing this important dialogue in the future. Bapak Ibu, tadi saya awal dengan pantun, saya akhiri dengan pantun izin. Ke pasar membeli rempah-rempah, tak lupa juga daun seledri. Kontrol kualitas haruslah merata, menjamin khasiat produk tradisi. Pagi cerah membawa harapan, ilmu dibagi penuh semangat. Workshop ini jadi pegangan untuk mutu herbal yang makin kuat. Saya mohon maaf jika ada kekurangan. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih ya.
Thank you very much to our moderators and speaker for this enlightening, insightful presentation, and we truly appreciate your time and expertise. And I believe that we all have learned valuable knowledge from your sharing today. Okay, Bapak dan Ibu, sebelum kita nanti ada penutupan oleh Bapak Deputi, kita ada waktu jeda sekitar 5 sampai dengan 10 menit untuk Bapak dan Ibu dapat mengerjakan post-test. Dan juga kami mohon kesediaannya untuk dapat melakukan survei kegiatan dari kemarin sampai dengan hari ini. Untuk link post-test ada di bit.ly/tbw-1908 atau nanti kami akan sharing juga di kolom chat Bapak dan Ibu, atau Bapak Ibu juga bisa akses melalui website atau subsite kami di standar-otskk.pom.go.id. Kemudian pilih kegiatan, nanti akan muncul kegiatan capacity building and workshop hari ini. Silakan untuk bisa diisi post-testnya. Kami informasikan untuk Bapak Ibu, salah satu syarat untuk mendapatkan sertifikat adalah Bapak Ibu melakukan pretest dan juga post-test. Waktu post-test 5 sampai 10 menit ke depan. Baik Bapak Ibu, untuk pengisian post-test, berikut adalah tahapannya. Silakan bisa akses standar-otskk.pom.go.id, kemudian pilih kegiatan, pilih lainnya, kemudian nanti akan muncul kegiatan capacity building and workshop ini. Silakan klik selanjutnya. Dan silakan diisi untuk post-test dan juga surveinya. Baik, di sini sudah melingkupi ya Bapak Ibu, ada post-test, survei, dan juga registrasi e-sertifikat. Baik, sembari pengisian survei, kami juga akan menginformasikan terkait kegiatan yang juga akan dilakukan oleh Direktorat Standardisasi OTSK KOS pada bulan Agustus ini. Kita ada kegiatan terkait sosialisasi peraturan Badan POM nomor 17 yang akan dilaksanakan pada tanggal 27 Agustus. Baik Bapak Ibu, kita akan ada dua kegiatan yang akan kita laksanakan pada Agustus ini. Yang pertama ada sosialisasi peraturan Badan POM nomor 17 tahun 2025 tentang pedoman penilaian produk suplemen kesehatan mengandung probiotik. Ini akan dilaksanakan pada 27 Agustus. Silakan Bapak dan Ibu yang mungkin akan mengikuti sosialisasi tersebut, silakan bisa langsung mendaftar melalui scan barcode yang ada di flyer. Kemudian untuk dekorasi, untuk Bapak dan Ibu mungkin yang akan melaksanakan desk konsultasi regulasi dengan kami akan melaksanakannya di hari Jumat 29 Agustus 2025 di Aula Gedung Rempah di jam 9 sampai dengan jam 3 sore. Silakan Bapak dan Ibu juga bisa langsung daftar melalui bit.ly/dekorasi strip AGST atau bisa langsung juga scan barcode pada flyer yang ada di depan. Terima kasih. Baik, Bapak dan Ibu, untuk waktu pengisian post-test sudah selesai. Mungkin nanti jika ada yang masih belum selesai, bisa dilanjutkan setelah ini. Kami sampaikan terima kasih atas kesediaan Bapak Ibu untuk melakukan pengisian post-test dan juga pengisian survei. Dan sebelum acara ini benar-benar berakhir, saya informasikan juga mungkin untuk Bapak dan Ibu yang sudah terdata mengikuti site visit besok, nanti bisa menghubungi panitia registrasi di bagian depan. Baik, Bapak dan Ibu yang kami hormati, alhamdulillah telah usai kegiatan kita selama 2 hari ini, yaitu capacity building and workshop on quality standardization of extract and quality control assessment in traditional medicine products. Kami ucapkan terima kasih atas partisipasi dan kehadiran Bapak Ibu. Kami juga memohon maaf apabila ada kekurangan pada penyelenggaraan selama 2 hari ini. Akhir kata, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.